Tell me when we are live. We go live.
I'll start by saying zoom in on my face. That can be what do you call?
We are live.
We're live.
Go. Yes, folks.
Yes, our prediction went wrong, but I'm not as sad as Shane because he's a KKR supporter.
Zoom in on this face.
God the anguish of a Kolkata Knight Riders fan, right?
On Bengali New Year, no less. My God.
I know.
Have some mercy.
But actually, KKR defeated KKR. An ex-KKR guy, Rahul Tripathi, really tore into the current KKR side, and it's as if time has just stopped, isn't it?
It's like it's now 2 games on the trot. We've been defeated by 2 former players.
Of course. Kuldeep Yadav.
Kuldeep and now Tripathi.
Also, there's a moment when Puran and Markram were there. Okay.
Yes.
I was reminding you guys. I just had that sort of anecdote in my head where I thought, what if they do something that they did with Punjab?
Yeah.
Okay. Both of them at the crease. They needed 18 runs of 30 balls, and they had 7 wickets in hand. And similarly, they had 7 wickets in hand even now.
Yes.
And then they flubbed it. Then they lost it.
Yep.
But today that did not happen.
As Super Giants has pointed out, Shane, X-bashing is not new. Yes, Kuldeep Yadav, 4 wickets.
Don't remind me. At least with Tripathi, you could still say fair enough.
Hello.
What? Did your mic go?
Wait, let me just check.
Well, he's having mic
trouble.
I can talk.
Yeah, please.
Because I mean, look, no hard feelings with Tripathi, obviously, because it's simply a case of if you're in an auction, permutations, combinations means you can't retain everyone. But God, he was in very good form even in the last game.
Hello.
And are we back online?
Yes. The funny thing is, let him complete. Because you can say, hello. Okay, come on.
Yes, the thing is, Tripathi was in good form. I think he's been in good form for the Nick for the past 2-3 games. And we were pointing out that I think both, like Tripathi we know has been a class operator, but Aiden Markram has proven all of us wrong.
All of us wrong, indeed.
We're looking at him going, yeah, no way, he's the solution in the middle order. Oh, apparently he is.
I think SRH have proved us all wrong in a lot of ways.
Except for Nikhil.
No, Abhishek Sharma. Nikhil has been very confident about SRH though. That we can
Exactly. So now I think we are in this situation now where 6 teams are on 6 points.
Yes.
Wow. 8 points, the Gujarat Titans, and 6 teams on 6 points. My God.
Wow. So CSK will be hoping when they win their next game, if they win their next game,
that is against the Gujarat Titans.
Be in the reckoning.
Yeah.
2 victories now.
But again, let me sum up the match again. Rahul Tripathi and Aiden Markram 50s. And it was a horror day for Varun Chakravarti.
I just have to say one thing about Varun Chakravarti. And I've been a big fan of the guy, but the mystery has been found out.
Yeah,
I don't think there was any mystery.
That genie is out of the bottle.
This game, they picked him off like anything. And 6s. Rahul Tripathi knew he could hit 6s at will.
Correct.
And imagine you hit a 6 over extra cover once, to do it off the very next ball again.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal to see, man.
And I think we've seen it happen with Chakravarti before. He had been decent in the IPL, but when he got picked for the team, the Indian team, for the last T20 World Cup against Pakistan, against New Zealand,
he got smashed
all over the park, and it's continuing now. Is it a case of confidence loss? No. I think teams have figured out that he will not be moving or spinning it extra, so you can hit in the line. And especially on, I mean, no excuses here, but the dew did play a bit of a factor because I don't think there was that much grip. But even keeping that in mind, how is it that Narayan was bowling with such economical figures?
Well, Narayan is a class act.
And that's the difference between a mystery spinner, and that's the difference between a flash in the pan mystery spinner and a class act like Sunil. Yeah. How many times has he had to retool his action? He's practically had to reinvent himself as a bowling all-rounder, pinch hitter. He's done it. Varun, on the other hand, I think the genie is out.
There's the rant we were waiting for. There's the rant.
My answer also.
Yes, but again, see, Narayan, there is also a flip side to it. Yes, he's giving economy. That's excellent. But now, with the other bowlers not backing up, every opponent now knows that, okay, we just have to play out Narayan. We can go after the other 4 or 5 bowlers. So that is why it's a flip side. If Narayan takes wickets, great, but I think he hasn't.
Nikhil bhai with us.
Yes, Nikhil. So 3 loose, we 2 stuck to our guns, and we have finally won.
Ma Saraswati ka Sakshat Roop Nikhil ji is with us. He has been getting it right every time. Like, can't
What did I tell you?
You told
Stay
me.
on with me. Don't make any changes to your predictions. Today is your lucky day. Stay on.
I did.
With SRA. you get your prediction right, they're going to win because a below par total by KKR. There was no way that SRH was going to mess that up with the batting lineup that they have. 3 wins in a row, guys.
And 6 teams on 6 points. Gujarat Titans on 8. And it makes the second, third, and fourth spot now even more intense. And remember, double header week coming up, weekend Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
It's Gujarat Titans versus CSK, MI versus LSG. So LSG, GT, and CSK all have a chance. Then there is RCB, DC to make up the conundrum even deeper, if I may add. Oof. SRH, and I think PBK's take on SRH on Sunday. Oh man, it's going to be a lot of permutations and combinations. But Nikhil, Rahul Tripathi, it's like as if he has an extended net session out in those 22 yards. I mean, effortless and powerful. What do you have to say about Rahul Tripathi?
Loved his batting, changed gears at the right time. I put I've been.
Nikhil, hold on. Rahul Tripathi only batted in one gear, and that was top gear. He was only out there smashing. You are saying that he changed gears. I thought he came out and.
No, I said he changed gears for the innings. Because before him, the innings was in a different gear. Then he came in and completely changed the complexion of the game. But I tell you what, I mean, my mind raced back to last year's final, and as a KKR fan, Shane would remember. I know that CSK won, not taking credit away from them, but I'd written a piece about how people really underrated Rahul Tripathi's role in taking KKR to the spot that they were.
True.
And actually his injury, that hamstring injury, because of which he had to bat lower down the order, completely changed the finals. If he had batted in a regular position at number 4 that he was batting for KKR, you never knew that title, that score could have been chaseable. I know it looked impossible at one time, but Rahul Tripathi batting at number 4 was doing unbelievable things. I actually used this stat earlier, and I'm going to reiterate and mention this stat because when I was looking at outstanding performances of IPL last season, everyone, and I'm only looking at the second half of the IPL because the last IPL was an aberration in sort because it was played over 2 different places. So half was played in India, half played in the UAE, and we saw completely different pitches in the UAE where it was tough for middle order batsmen to perform. Only top order batsmen were performing very well. And whatever we saw of the top order batsmen, the top 10 run getter list was dominated by top order, either you bat as an opener or number 3. Rahul Tripathi and Glenn Maxwell were the only 2 middle order batsmen. Anyone batting at below number 4 who featured in the top 10 run getters list, only second half of the IPL, I reiterate, only UAE. And interestingly, both of them were the only middle order batsmen that were featuring in the highest strike rate as well. So they're getting runs at the highest strike rate. Maxwell we had the highest praise for in the last IPL season. But I think the same credit wasn't given to Rahul Tripathi. He remained a bit under the radar, and that is why it was a big miss. When we were looking at this IPL auction, I had actually picked him as one of the guys to really go out for because of the, if I was to use a marketing term, ROI that he gives every team. He'll bat the tough overs, but not only get you a lot of runs, but get you runs at a very fast pace, which is gold dust in IPL. He was doing it, and he goes to Sunrisers Hyderabad, and he was one of the main reasons I thought that they will do well. He's coming good. He's not only getting you a lot of runs, but getting you at a amazing pace. And after I put that tweet out about Rahul Tripathi being one of the most underrated T20 batsmen, many people have pointed out that we keep handing these T20 caps very easily, and Rahul Tripathi is unfortunate in that regard that he hasn't been. But I agree on that front, and I'm one of those advocates who says don't give caps out easily. But again, I'm not saying give him the cap. I'm saying he should be in the reckoning. He should be part of the discussion. He should be part of those conversations, which unfortunately he's not having. But I'm saying, look at his stats last season and look at his stat this season. He should be in the reckoning or in conversation when you look at the best T20 batsmen in India. That's how impactful he has been.
Well, actually, Bapaditya Karan has got he's comparing Rahul Tripathi. He's got shades of 2 individuals currently, Sky and DK. He needs to let go of his fidgety nature to become a top class player. What do you think about that, Nikhil, Siddhant, Shane?
I think he's already there as a top player. He don't need to do anything.
I think the way he's been performing, by the way, I think so in terms of runs scored by an uncapped player in the IPL, Rahul Tripathi is right now at the top. He has the most number of runs by an uncapped Indian player in the IPL. So we know that he's been a proven performer, and as Nikhil pointed out, last year I thought even KK were unlucky when he had that hamstring injury.
Yeah.
He only walked out to bat when they were 120 for 6 at number 8. So a guy who's consistently doing well for you, and we have seen this even now. That first game he got out for a duck, but you see his scores after that. Every game he has made a great contribution. Even if he has gotten out for 30 odd runs, 38, 39 runs, he has scored them of 14 or 15 balls. Today again, that Varun Chakravarti over, I think so, was the turning point. Even though Williamson had gotten out, even though Abhishek Sharma did not do anything today, that one over showed us that boss SRH are in the ascendancy and they are going to take this game.
Well, as we speak, the highlights of that over have been shown. 2 magnificent inside-out lofted sixes of Varun Chakravarti, and again,
brilliant.
Economy of 15 will not win you many games. And Varun Chakravarti, I think, is now under the scanner, unfortunately for that. Shaunak Ghosh is like saying, Umran Malik is lucky to have a coach like Dale Steyn. The celebration of Dale Steyn when Umran got Shreyas Iyer with excellent setup showed that how much he has worked on him. Yeah, I mean, that delight that Steyn showed when Umran Malik got the wicket of Shreyas Iyer was a treat to watch.
It was.
You would have had, in the digital world, you would have had breakouts written on how Dale Steyn was like behind.
Celebrating.
Yeah. And also, apparently, I don't know whether this is a fake Twitter chat or not, when somebody asked in a Q&A with Dale Steyn, who is your inspiration? He quoted Umran Malik. Actually.
No, Umran Malik quoted Dale Steyn.
They was asking Dale Steyn. They were asking Dale Steyn the question.
Whose inspiration?
Yeah.
Okay, very well.
That seems
so. That's what I asked in the beginning.
I must add that it could have been a plan, and that plan worked, and that's why Dale Steyn was celebrating. Because they had bowled short balls to him before that, and then they bowled a Yorker with Shreyas Iyer trying to back away, missed it, did not have a clue at all and got bowled.
Yeah, I mean, 2 for 27, had the fastest delivery of the match as well, and bowled with control and economy. He was the X factor today, Umran Malik. And because of that, I think KKR, they could have gotten to 200 by the way how Russell was going, and Nitish also. But because Umran had that control in the middle overs, the impetus was not given. Russell tried his superhuman best. Last over 2 sixes and a 4 of Jagadish Suchit. But still, it didn't prove to be enough. They cantered home in how many? With 2 overs to spare.
I again maintain that KKR's problem right now, even though people have pointed out that the batting has looked dodgy, I still maintain the batting looks a hell of a lot stronger than the bowling right now. That bowling is looking very, very, like the 2 wicket takers you've had. Umesh was alright today, didn't get a wicket, but his economy even at 7 is skewed by the fact that his last over went for a few. Which is
3 consecutive boundaries by Markram, I guess.
Then you have your other main wicket taker is Varun, who was spun around the entire, he went 360 degrees today.
Yeah.
So that is a major problem, because if you have these 2 as your key wicket takers, and you're expecting a lot of Cummins, who so far hasn't shown wicket taking form, then it doesn't matter how economical Sunil Narayan is, and it doesn't matter how many bouncers Russell can bowl in the depth.
Exactly. But Nikhil, this question, the KKR strategy came into question today. Russell 2 overs, 2 wickets, 49 out of 25. So once again, is KKR not utilizing him to the hilt? Shane and Nikhil, what about it?
I don't know, but the thing with Russell always is, how fit is he? Can you risk that? Would you want to bowl him that extra over and then risk not having his batting, considering how reliant they are on that batting right now?
Nikhil, 2 overs, 2 wickets, you could have probably gone aggressively, but again, is it a fitness issue?
It was a fitness issue to begin with, but now he's bowling all out, got those wickets as well. I think I would have risked him. My other point is, and again I'm going to point out to a lot of folks who kept pointing at Shreyas Iyer's captaincy, and we did praise his captaincy. I think his captaincy needs to also come into scanner. So it's all good when everything is going in your favor, and then the decisions you take tend to look good. But today the things were against you. Then what are the decisions that you look at? And as you pointed out, maybe Andre Russell, you could have risked him. Umesh Yadav, I think you're bowling him up front. He was trying to get the wicket. I understand early on, didn't want to wait for a little longer. But assuming the game had gone the distance, you would have missed Umesh Yadav there. So again, it's nothing succeeds like success. When he was doing very well, every decision that Shreyas Iyer took looked like absolutely fantastic. That it was the right decision to take. I'm also going to question about the batting strategy. I think the captain plays a major role in that. So whether the batting strategy, again I've explained, of them going bang bang, they've got McCullum in their ranks, and I understand that he's one of those guys who propagates this sort of a batting. But then as a captain, you have a say too. Is that the right way to go forward? So sometime we look at the results and then we decide who's a good captain and who's not a good captain. If that is the standard we're going to adopt, then when they were getting results, then we did give a lot of praise to Shreyas Iyer, the captain. Now results aren't going their way. Should we criticize? I'm not going to do that now. Because I think today, frankly, the problem was with the batting. You can keep looking at the bowling. That was a below par total in a ground where we've seen, scores being scored around 200. That was a par score. They didn't get to that. There was no way the bowlers are going to defend it. And that's why in the middle of the innings, I said there was clearly SRH that were going to win this match. But with whatever bowling resources they have, I think what they're really missing is Varun Chakravarti being effective. He was very effective, and I think they pinned a lot of hopes on him. But he was effective. Remember, guys, in the Dubai leg or the Middle East leg of the IPL, and the pitches were conducive for his side of bowling. Now, when you're seeing the kind of pitches that you're getting, where fast bowlers really come into play or seam bowlers come into play, that's suiting the likes of SRH. Even Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, we didn't speak of him in the middle of the innings. Very good, and as an Indian fan, I'm very happy with those performances. Umran Malik was a standout performer. Natarajan bowled very well. Jansen bowled very well. So on that front, if you were to compare bowling, SRH was far greater. Yes, at the end of the day, it's the SRH batting that's won them, but I still maintain it was a below par total, and that's where a good captain comes into play. Is Shreyas Iyer that captain? Again, I'm not saying he's not. I'm not saying he's great. You need to spend some time looking at those performances, looking at those matches in tough situation, and then make a final call. So I'm saying, if you're taking that yardstick of praising him after a few good results, then you have to look at him analytically after a few bad results that KKR have got.
Well, Redacted Shetty is asking, why is Shreyas so careless with his wicket? No, I think he was not careless with his wicket. See, he got set up well by Umran Malik. That Yorker was pinpoint. But yes, in this match, I think now, as Nikhil had earlier pointed out, Shreyas' weaknesses have been found out now. There is a certain distinctive weakness for short ball, and yes, he did make room, but I think the Yorker was pinpoint, and anybody can't do anything because it's 140 clicks and above. Accurate Yorker, well, you can't call him careless. You can't call him. I think the wrong term has been used. It's not careless.
He has been careless in previous matches, though.
Yeah, but
like
not
when
in
he
this
threw his
match.
wicket away against Delhi.
They threw away starts, but he's been trying way too much like that even before also.
That's how he
By
bats.
trying to force things. See, I get it, but your team was 31 for 3 at one point. You need to be out there. You are the best batsman in your side. So you have to make sure that your team stays on target, right? But the problem was with Shreyas, he was trying too hard, trying to score those quick runs, and then that cost them the wicket.
That is the brilliance of Umran. That's why those middle overs that he bowled was fantastic. And 4-0, 27-2 for someone who had an economy rate of over 10 in the previous 3-4 games. This kind of economy rate was the difference maker.
It'll absolutely boost his confidence going forward because he was getting
I
pumped.
think I'm gonna take Gaurav Sharma's comment, and I'm guessing you guys can see it too. I think it's a fantastic suggestion. So I'm just repeating it for you guys. He's saying, what do you think about Saudi replacing Finch, and KKR can open with Narain and add an extra batsman in Abhijit Tomar as Saudi can really strengthen the bowling. So I'm just going to talk about Saudi there and Narain as an opener. I know that experiment hasn't worked, but the current situation is also not helping them in terms of the batting. So I wouldn't mind if that's the philosophy that you have, or KKR does, that they want to go bang bang. Then Narain as an opener is not back. I believe he's coming of some good form from the CPL. And if you're trying to get those sort of runs from him or Bangladesh Premier League, one of them, I think he's come off some good form. He's got a few runs. So if you're trying to get him to get or contribute with the bat with some good runs, then might as well get him to open. What that does is Saudi, who's been outstanding, get him into the team. I know that Cummins you can't drop because of the the name that he is. He's contributed with the bat and with the ball. But today, as I said, it was the fast bowling department where KKR got found out. I don't think it's a bad option. You try and play your best 11, however best you can arrange it. This is an interesting option that Gaurav has posted, and I think it should be considered seriously.
Yeah, but Nikhil, actually we were not thinking that Finch could play. Because why? You already had Cummins, you already had the other guys sealed in. I never thought
play. You gave all the records about Finch. Why don't you tell our viewers again, what has he been doing just before entering this IPL? We've seen him for the longest time not getting run. What did he do
exactly
just before reaching it?
So yes, this was Aaron Finch's 9th team in the IPL, a thorough journeyman. He's played for MI, he's played for Rajasthan Royals, he's played for Delhi Daredevils, he's also played for Sunrisers Hyderabad, KKR, among all Gujarat Lions. So among all the teams that he's not played, one is Chennai Super Kings and the second is Lucknow Super Giants. Now, before the IPL 2022, Aaron Finch's 3 ODI scores were 0, 0, 11. Kind of remove the other 0, you get a Delhi pin code if that's the case. Then you have, I actually hit a 50 in the T20.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
But that is an exception to the norm. If you look at the ICC World T20 also, prior to that, he struggled immensely. Barring that one game against Bangladesh, he struggled. Even in the IPL, he's not set the stage on fire for the last 7-8 years. His last score of 85 came in 2014 when SRH was playing Delhi Daredevils at Dubai. So, getting Finch into the equation actually messed the batting lineup up for KKR, because we all discussed, Siddhant and Shane, even Nikhil, we discussed that Finch, how could he fit in? Because you already had somebody like Cummins, you had Saudi was providing that depth in the bowling, Russell, Narine. So where on earth could you get Finch in? But apparently
Billings was a little unfairly dropped, if you ask me.
No, Billings, by the way, hasn't been dropped. He is not feeling well. He has tweeted
Yes.
also
not
that
well. Maybe
that's
he's not been well for the past week. Nikhil had pointed that out before the match even began, that Billings has not been feeling really well or whatever, but he's been a bit under the weather, and that's why he did not play this game. And that gave them an opportunity to try Aaron Finch in place of Ajinkya Rahane, and that did not work at all. And I'm not sure whether even Sunil Narine experiment can work. You may try him at the top of the order. He might have succeeded in the Bangladesh Premier League, scoring that one of the fastest 50s ever. But I still don't think Narine is the answer.
I think he's been found out in the IPL.
They'll start bowling short to him, as simple as that. Like the way you start with Andre Russell, that's what Umran Malik was doing to him in that over. And somehow Russell survived that onslaught of barrage of the short deliveries, and then he scored so many runs. But with Narine, I don't think that happened.
He doesn't have the discipline. No.
Narine has only one mode. One mode is the perfect word to say. Just come out and try to hit every ball.
With Russell, previously he would often get found out a lot, not just with short balls, but also Yorkers. Did you see how he was defending them today? He was constantly prepared for Bhuvi's barrage of Yorkers and was defending them expertly. So, smart player, which I don't think Narine is in that regard. He will just look to go bang bang no matter what ball he gets.
And that can be an even bigger problem.
It is, yes.
Because it might come off one of these days, but you need more stability at the top of the order. And I think so. The other problem is that Venkatesh Iyer was that consistent factor for them in the second half of the IPL when they were in the UAE. But that's not coming off for them, and they are struggling. And then you have to depend on players like Shreyas Iyer, Nitish Rana. And even though Nitish Rana scored some runs today, Shreyas Iyer, apart from that 150 in the last game and against Delhi, they lost. Apart from that, he really has gotten starts, scored 2-3 boundaries, and then gotten out.
And I think Venki didn't bowl also, I guess.
Venki has not been bowling at all.
Not been
bowling at all. So
last game he bowled 1 over, I think so, gave away 14 runs.
14 runs, yes. So, okay. Varun Parvataneni and Nikhil, yes, they both got it spot on. I always felt they are the dark horse, and inform Rahul. Tripathi, that is, Markram and Puran cannot be a better middle order, and Kane form can only go up. Told yesterday 6 teams at 6. So yes, Nikhil and Varun Parvataneni are getting it right.
Nikhil to, as I said, Saraswati Ma ka Sakshat Roop.
Yes.
Okay. Like the way he's been predicting the scores.
No, that is only today. I had actually picked SRH to be in my top 4, and that was on the basis of the team that they had selected. I think they have it in them. They should have ideally got more wins and should have been top of the table. It was a game against RR, if I'm not mistaken, where they had them on the ropes while batting and bowling, and on both occasions lost the game from the winning position. So they have themselves to blame on that. Ideally, they should have got more wins by now. One more win out of the 5 games that they played. So it should have been 4 wins, 1 loss, and done better. But I mean, these things happen in the IPL. Again, as I said, I have no affiliation for Hyderabad. It's not that, some of my favorite players play for them, or I have any other affiliation and I'm supporting them. Purely in terms of the team that they picked in the combination, I think, and nobody had picked them, but I was surprised by it. I thought that they have it in them to make the playoffs. That's why I picked them as my dark horse. And as Parvateni and me both were pointing out, he had mentioned it earlier too, that watch out for them. They'll be a good team. I see a lot of comments again, and I'm just addressing it. Folks asking me about what's happened to my face. It's just a bacterial infection. So I didn't get into a brawl. Nobody punched me. Nobody fought with me. It's just a bacterial infection.
Nikhil, you should have said, you should have seen the other guy.
Sorry?
You should have just said that if this is what you are looking at, you should have seen the other guy. That's how you should have said it.
I wish, but I'm way past that age.
Like, how do I do? Raju Rao and Babu Rao. That is the way. But again, Neeraj, let us forget KKR and SRH for one moment. But I'll take Bapaditya Karan's statement though. Shane, did Kolkata lose out on their retention? They took decisions primarily on the basis of half the IPL that took place in Dubai. Agree, disagree?
No. So one point, I'll say, if they took decisions based on half the IPL in the Dubai leg, there was no way that they wouldn't have gone for Rahul Tripathi. He was outstanding in that half.
Yes.
So that answers your question.
No, I don't think they've done that, because who are they? They retained 3 players.
They retained 4 players.
Oh, so
Narayan, Russell,
Varun Chakravarti and Venkatesh Iyer.
So the thing with Venkatesh was, you always saw him as that prospect on the top. I think he kind of displaced Gill in that regard. So that might be a bit, but that was going either way. So okay, let's be fair there. Chakravarti, again, the mystery spinning option, you can understand. Narayan and Russell kind of speak for themselves.
Yes.
So I don't think they did that, but yeah, I think there were questions that more than that, I did see a lot of people say that they did their team construction in the auction, whilst they did have enough players, they might not necessarily have enough players for certain roles, and that is what we're seeing right now. I don't think there's a death bowling option. The batting looks good, but strategy is letting them down, because they're all looking to go bang bang. The one batsman who could have actually not done that, you've dropped, Rahane. And you're bringing in Finch, who, for the past year and a half has been out of form and only knows how to go bang bang. So well done.
Yeah, Sheldon Jackson also had a pretty horror day.
KKR rant.
I think
part 2.
No, Sheldon Jackson also, I think, had a pretty bad day.
You don't even get me started on
a rare off day.
Jesus. Like, we know, he might not be delivering with the bat, but at least normally he's been a consistent presence behind the stumps. Today, horror.
Retaining Venki instead of Gill, looking more and more for Mr. Redacted Shetty.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah. You can't deny that.
Second season blues, guys.
Yeah.
Second season blues.
Okay, for 1 minute, let us just keep aside the MI with the KKR versus SRH game. 1 minute. Atul Singh is asking, Nikhil sir and to all of us, will Arjun Tendulkar play tomorrow? MI posted his photo and even Sara teased him.
No, so I'm seeing a lot of chatter on social media about that picture and will he play tomorrow or not. And also, this is not a question that has just come to us now. It is a question that has been coming to us for a long time. I know there are a lot of fans who want to see him play. I mean, we can't answer it in the affirmative or disregard it completely whether he's playing tomorrow or not. But now that we called Mumbai Indians are out of the race, we've still kept Chennai there. But we called it on sports today that Mumbai India completely out of the playoff race. It won't be a bad idea to play him and let people see. I know that he's played at the junior level for the Mumbai team, but everyone wants to see him play at the senior level. But here's a story for you guys. I saw him bowl much before anyone knew that. In 2009, I was in England covering the World Cup, the T20 World Cup, and I saw him up close and personal. He came to the nets at the Middlesex cricket ground where I was working as a journalist at the time. Only Sachin and he came and they practiced all alone. He must have been, I don't know, how old is he at the moment? What's his age? He's 19, 20, 21?
He's 22. Going on to 23.
So in 2009, how old would he be?
He was 9.
It's that,
He
yeah.
was-
So
yeah.
imagine he just started playing cricket. I saw him bowl in the nets at the
Wow.
Middlesex training facility. Again, he was a left-arm pacer. Came off a long run-up and was bowling to his father. Spent a long time bowling there. So yeah, I saw him there. So personally, I'd be very excited to see him play. And as I said, I know he's played at the junior level for Mumbai, but I'd love to see him play at the IPL. And now wouldn't be a bad opportunity considering that they have nothing to lose and he comes out to play. But there's no definite knowledge that we have about whether he will be
Yeah.
drafted into the playing 11. And just a disclaimer that don't go by social media feeds and pictures because they can be misleading. We've seen it in the past with other franchises. Just because they put a picture of his and Sara has commented doesn't necessarily mean that he'll play. So don't get your hopes really high. That's the only thing I'll say.
Nikhil, there was also a report, right, that Arjun Tendulkar was bowling to, I think, Johnny Bairstow, and I think he fractured his toe. Which batsman was that? Right, he was bowling in one session, I remember, at Lords. There was a report that Arjun Tendulkar bowled a Yorker to, I think, Bairstow, and I think it fractured his toe.
May have been much later than 2009. May have been
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah, I was
A
about
9-year-old is not fracturing.
I'm talking about 2017,
Yeah.
2017, that time.
Yes, correct. I may have missed it out because Sachin has a house in England and he goes there during his summer vacation. At least he did before the coronavirus set in, and he spent his summer there. I know that Sarah's studying in the UK, so they go there very often. And while they're there, they don't want to stop his cricket practice and him playing cricket. And that's why those net sessions and those games that you're talking about that he participates in, and may have happened at the time, but I may have missed it. But I trust Siri to come up with the answer. So there you go.
Yes, because I read that. Just have a look. Arjun Tendulkar, Yorker, I think someone's toe got fractured.
Alright, but it says a lot that he's only being discussed based on what we've seen in the nets and based on what we've heard.
Yep,
He's played a grand total of 2 T20s in the domestic level,
yep,
and that's it. That is
Yes.
his domestic level record.
yeah.
Would he be attracting this much attention if not for his last name?
No,
Exactly.
actually not.
So what exactly are we trying
So
to
nepotism just doesn't work in Bollywood.
It works in it works everywhere.
No, but again, as I'm saying, there is excitement about his name.
Yeah.
And should I blame him for being Sachin Tendulkar?
No.
No.
That's
Of course
not his fault.
right.
That's not
That's
his fault.
not his
All I'm
fault.
saying is, let's put speculations to rest. Let's see him play an IPL game and then make our decision as to
Yeah.
how good or bad he is.
I mean, nepotism kind of happened in the 2009 IPL, right? For Delhi Daredevils. A certain Yadav tried to make an entry into...
Right, of course. How can we forget?
Yes. So
Yes.
Let us not...
Did it properly. Our family members want to know. Don't be like this.
Go for it. then.
Don't
Is
hold
it
like it was Lalu.
Don't hold
Prasad
it.
Yadav's
Don't
son.
hold it. Lalu's son. Just go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Lalu Prasad Yadav's son.
Yes. Tejasvi Yadav.
But can I tell you one thing? That while that was nepotism to a certain extent that he made it to the team, I spoke to a lot of people in the DDCA and many of them pointed out that he was not a bad cricket player. Huh?
Yeah.
That's what we've heard
He was
at that
quite
point.
decent. And I heard it from people. Again, these are not folks that have any interest in mind. I'm talking about people who could be in the ground staff, who could be in the administration. Because in those days, I would spend a lot of time in the DDCA covering a lot of games and speaking to people. And a lot of people who I trusted, who were neutral, had no sort of connection with the political family. And you know that DDCA has a lot of political connections. So I'm very, very wary of who you speaking to, who you're taking feedbacks from. But a lot of people pointed out he wasn't a bad batsman actually.
Yeah.
Tejasvi we are talking about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tejasvi Yadav, yes. And I think he came also at that time in the Bihar Cricket Administration. There was this
lot of turmoil.
Which BCA, which Bihar Cricket Association would you look after?
There were three. There were three.
The Aditya Verma faction, then there was some other faction. So yeah, it was tough times for Bihar cricketers at that point in time. But again, we are discussing about Rahul Tripathi. Neeraj Sharma is asking, now after this knock, chances in the Indian cricket team?
Yeah, I think that's a traditional question that normally people
Yeah.
ask about everyone. But Tripathi has been a very quietly consistent performer for quite a while now. People are taking notice of him now. But at KKR, he was also pretty good. He was no slouch.
At Rising Pune,
Pune
Super
Super
Giants
Giants.
also
Correct.
he was really
Correct.
good.
Under MS Dhoni's
I think a lot of
captaincy.
people forget that he first made his name
RPS.
playing for RPS And that's when after that you saw when RPS got disbanded, he went to a different franchisee, then KKR picked him up and he was scoring runs for them.
Yes, he
and
was.
boss, for me, perfect number 3 considering the way he's been playing for SRH, and he's made me eat my words in terms of I thought their batting and bowling all looked weak in all departments. SRH, especially after the first 2 games happened, but Rahul Tripathi is batting like a dream at times.
Yeah.
Like there are few players you look at and you like so consistent, right? Tripathi was striking the ball right out of the middle every single time today.
I will not forget, and I hated watching that shot when he hit Chakravarti inside out and then just held his pose.
Yeah.
For,
I'm
for,
like,
a, for a
oh
good
God.
10 seconds I thought.
Yeah.
At least
that
that's
was one for the shutters.
Indeed. Okay, the whose Yorker was the best? Bumrah, Lockie or Umran?
Oh, that's a good one.
So
That's a
I'm
good
gonna-
one.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer that question. Before that, I'm going to read a comment out by Akib Hussain, who says,
KKR, match fixing.
KKR ने match fixing किया. Akib, if you were next to me now, I would have got hold of your neck and like really strangled it. Don't do that. We are all cricket lovers. We love the sport. We like to analyze who's doing well. And
Okay,
who's doing
I have another rebuke because Super Giants is saying nepotism product Rohan Gavaskar. Yeah, I think his domestic record would disagree with you in that regard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So who's
Horrible
Yorker was
take.
best?
Yeah.
Who's
Nikhil
Yorker
with you.
was best?
Nikhil, you have
Umran.
to start.
I'm picking, if I was to pick one Yorker, I'm picking Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. That Yorker that he bowled at Andre Russell.
Yes.
It was unplayable. I tell you why it was unplayable. Because a lot of Yorkers are direct, and because of the Yorker, you tend to put a lot of space on it, so they don't swing much. If you understand a little bit of fast bowling, you'd understand that for you to get some swing in the air, you really need to leave the ball and not really go after it in terms of cutting it through the air. But that Bhuvaneshwar Kumar was not, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar Yorker was not only quick, it swung, and I'll tell you, facing swing and especially swing which is conventional swing which starts swinging early is still easier to spot because you can see it quicker from the hands of the bowler and adjust yourself as a batsman. It's the whatever little cricket I've played at the club level, it was the late swinging delivery that would always have me in trouble no matter what pace it came at. And that Bhuvaneshwar Kumar Yorker swung very late. Very late and towards the death, it came into Andre Russell, it floored him. For me, that's the best Yorker of this IPL. There have been bowlers who may bowl more Yorkers more consistently, but for this IPL, and I know Bhuvaneshwar has not been in his top form, at his peak he would bowl Yorkers at will and unplayable Yorkers. He's not the same Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, we all acknowledge that. But that particular Yorker, I think it was to Andre Russell. That late swing, right? It keeps coming straight. At the end, it just swings in. Unplayable. The best Yorker that I've seen this time.
Anyway, even Nothing has said something about this. Bhuvi's Yorkers are very underrated. Yes, I do agree. His Yorkers are underrated.
True.
But that, Nikhil,
But Nikhil took it out of syllabus. Nikhil, he asked between the 3. So, okay, we get it that Bhuvi's Yorker, according to you, was the best of the Yorkers throughout this
and he
IPL.
mentioned
But
Bumrah.
if you had to pick one among the Bumrah Yorker, the Lockie Ferguson Yorker to
And
George
Umran
Butler,
Malik, yeah.
and then Umran Malik's Yorker to Shreyas Iyer tonight.
Okay, if I had to pick between the 3, if I was a batsman, I wouldn't want to be facing the Jasprit Bumrah Yorker. Plain and simple.
absolutely, that delivery, that Yorker that he bowled to Liam Livingston kind of reminded me of the ball that Shane Bond bowled to Rahul Dravid, 2002 Wellington. Late swing in on a Yorker and off stump gone. That too of Rahul Dravid.
I was 10 years old.
8 years old. I think for me, if I had to pick any, I was going with Umran, but I think I'll change that now. Lockie Ferguson to get rid of Joss Butler.
I actually second Shane because for me, Yorkers,
dip.
it's a
Jesus.
slower ball also, not to forget. It was 20 kilometers per hour slower than his previous delivery. To pull that off after getting hit for a 6, I was amazed by it, and as you guys know, I'm a huge Lockie Ferguson fan.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lockie for me, even though I'm a big Jasprit Bumrah fan also.
Yeah.
But that Yorker was something exceptional, boss.
Yeah.
Well, you made it. You have to second him. I third you guys. Yes, I think that Lockie Ferguson Yorker, because of the situation, Butler was going hammer and tongs. He was almost like single-handedly propelling Rajasthan.
Yeah.
But Lockie, that slow dipping Yorker, and got him. Butler just couldn't believe it.
Butler was thinking about it in the dugout. I thought. You remember there were images of him just looking somewhere like on the horizon. Not like somebody in the commentary also pointed out. He's still thinking about that Yorker. He's still thinking about how good it was.
One side note about that Yorker. It reminded me exactly of Lasat Malinga.
Yeah.
And Malinga was the one sitting in the Rajasthan. Can you imagine? He would at one point probably been consoling Butler, saying, there, it happens. But at one point, he would have been quietly smiling, thinking, wow, not seen anyone since me able to do it like that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean,
Fantastic.
so 3 in favor of Ferguson, and Nikhil says Bumrah and Bhuvaneshwar. But yes, all 3 Yorkers at the end of the day were simply fantastic.
Absolutely amazing.
But
Just great
Yeah.
fast bowling.
Ah,
Manjeet Singh, hello Sports Today, here to send some love. Nikhil sir, enjoy your vacation.
Love back at you.
Love back at
Nikhil's
you.
vacation is coming to an end very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a vacation. It was my day off.
Days.
It's just
Yeah.
that I have another house that I have to keep coming to because I need to ensure that the maintenance is fine. If you don't use a house very often, you know what happens to it. So
Yeah.
it was not a vacation, but I'm back in the studio tomorrow. I look forward to joining you guys and
course.
having all the banter, the fun, and everything else that goes along on Sports Today. And I'm hoping our family members are going to be back in full strength when we are live at 2:45 tomorrow.
Yes.
Double header. 2 days of double headers, so I can't wait for all the action to unfold.
The biggest advantage of Nikhil coming back to the studios, out of the 100 comments, 90 will not be about where is Nikhil. So that is the one thing we are really looking
That is
forward
so
to.
true.
That's very true.
Every time somebody is asking, and Nikhil, I hope your bacterial infection will also be much better from tomorrow, because a lot of people were worried looking at it and they kept asking, Nikhil, what happened to you? Nikhil, what happened to you?
See, Nikhil
So
is.
if there are any doctors in our family members, they can subscribe. I've been using a cream for this infection. I don't know how it came.
Yes.
Maybe I think it was because of the mask that you wear, the N95, and it falls like this. So maybe
Yeah.
some infection came out of that.
See, there
So if you
were-
got any doctors,
There are family
advice.
members who were saying, did Nikhil sir get into a fight? Well, see, Nikhil is super fit.
Yeah, Nikhil is super
But he's a
fit.
gentle giant. He's not an aggressive
No,
giant. He's
Nikhil is not a gentle giant, man. Come on.
Also, I've reached the age where I have realized.
Nikhil is calling you a gentle giant. First, disagree with that. You're not a gentle giant, man.
Yeah, I'm not a giant at all.
Yeah.
But
I
I've
thought
also
you were saying
reached
I
a-
disagree with the gentle part.
No, gentle, yes. But not a giant.
Oh, see,
But I've
giant
reached
of
this
the
stage in
media
life
industry.
where I've realized that
Giant
fighting
of
doesn't solve things.
Yeah.
Yes.
Conversation, talking does. So I
Yeah.
don't get into fight anymore. Younger Nikhil would, but
Austin Kuna saying, is Rahul Tripathi the most underrated player of India currently? I think we have discussed
he's
that.
up there with them. for
Nikhil
sure.
gave a thorough explanation on Rahul Tripathi. Rewind the video and see what we have said about Rahul
One
Tripathi.
stat to prove it, the most number of runs for an uncapped Indian player,
True.
that goes to Rahul Tripathi. So
This
that proves the
IPL,
point.
Super Giants, well, you're dead now, but yes, you did exist in 2017. This IPL reminds me of IPL 2016. Gujarat, RCB, SRH performing well. Mumbai and Chennai like RPS in bottom. Oh, but Chennai wasn't there in 2016, but yeah, RPS were.
Yeah.
And then
Along
next
with
year they
Punjab.
reached the finals.
Yes.
Yes. So, any other, you're so good, PM concept classes. Wow, thank you.
Thank you, PM Concept Classes.
Yes, I'm sure
PM
that's-
concept classes.
Ankit Kumar sings Nikhil's praise. Nikhil Nas, sir, you are great. We agree.
Tusi great ho.
To see great ho,
Tusi
Paji.
great ho, Nikhil.
Oh, we do actually have a family member who's a doctor. Take that comment.
Where?
Manjeet
Singh.
Singh.
Oh yes, Manjeet Singh. Yeah, I'm a doctor too. I was just having a close look on your face to see what was that. Koi zarurat ho to batana, Nikhil ji.
There's
Wow.
your answer.
This
There
is
is your
superb.
answer.
This is superb. Our doctor has come to the rescue on live.
okay, so I'll speak to Manjeet in Punjabi. Manjeet, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ DM ਕਰ ਦਿਓ ਮੇਰੇ Instagram page ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਭੇਜਾਂਗਾ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਸਲਟ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਤੇ you can tell me all of it that the creams that I need to apply. So since we're both Punjabis, I thought I'll connect with him in our mother tongue.
No, Nikhil, we understand you are also showing off. We get it. We
So
get
I'll
it,
also
Nikhil.
say it. Brrrah.
That's not showing off. That's my mother tongue. I'd be embarrassed if I didn't speak it.
Yeah, that is true,
So
man.
I
I
second that and I say brrrah. That's how we go about it. So yes, have you guys watched Beast and KGF? Well, we are only watching the IPL.
No, I actually wanted to go watch KGF 2 because I saw the first part and I quite liked it. I thought it was fun. It was fun.
Spoiler alert, everybody spanned Beast. So I think better watch KGF, that is better.
I don't even know which movie is Beast.
Beast
by the
is
way.
Vijay.
Oh,
Talapati Vijay.
Right.
So
It all sounds like Greek to me, guys. Sorry.
Shane Bias, come on.
I
man.
know.
Watch some Indian stuff.
I do watch Indian stuff, but not regional is not my strong suit. I'll
but
admit.
watch KGF. You might have fun.
okay, so Austin Kuna is asking me the question: has there been a better and longer peak for a batter than Virat Kohli's peak across formats from 2016 to 2019?
No, probably not.
Simple answer is no. In fact, not just 2016 to 2019, from 2013 till 2019, I will say 2012 till 2019.
Hobart. Ever since
Hobart,
Hobart.
yes.
That Hobart innings was just unbelievable.
Virat Kohli is the only guy to have scored 20,000 runs combined in all three formats in this whole decade. No one even comes close. And let me give you an example of 2016.
Yeah, 2016 only was.
Man, that year would have put even Bradman to shade. Average of 75 in ODIs with a strike rate of 103. Average of 116 in T20s. Okay, with a strike rate of 150. In the IPL, 973 runs. And I think that record might never be broken.
400s.
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 Imagine
madness.
973
One
runs.
season 400s.
In test matches, it
Unbelievable.
was 90. Test matches average was 90. So, 2016 was a year which saw Virat Kohli reach absolute beast and alpha male mode when it came to batting. I don't think we can see anything of that dominance ever. As we said, if you want me to rate who are the Fab Five when it comes to greatness, Watson recently did. Shane Watson, the DC assistant coach, did it recently. I would rate number 1 Virat Kohli because
That Sasta Pyaz sent us a super chat where he wrote most runs, Josh Butler 272, Hardik Pandya 228 and then Mohammad Siraj 215.
Sasta Pyaz, I wish your name comes up and we have to buy Pyaz at a very low rate.
Sasta, you know what Sasta Pyaz reminds me of? He reminds me of that newspaper or that website called The Onion, where they're fully into satire. This dude's got
it is satire.
Yeah,
It
he's got
is.
that satirical streak in him. I
Sasta
tell you.
Pyaz.
Brilliant name, brilliant comment also.
No, Sasta Pyaz today wins the comment of the day or the comment of the week award. Well done,
Absolutely.
Sasta Pyaz. But I do wish that you come into the government. We want the Sasta Pyaz rates to really come down. So yes, as I was saying, Virat Kohli was dominant. 2016 was the key. And I have nothing more to say on Virat Kohli. As Fab 5 I was saying, Virat Kohli number 1, Kane Williamson number 2, Steve Smith at 3, Babar Azam 4, Joe Root at 5. Primarily because Root never converted his 50s into centuries more often.
And because Joe Root, as a test batsman, very good, but his white ball record was always patchy.
T20, I'll say
Hardly the ODIs he's still fine. T20s he's not
barely
even.
played.
No, he's not even part of the squad.
exactly.
That's
So guys, this is the end of the single header. Now for the coming 2 days, we have double headers.
Double header, double day.
Mumbai Indians versus Lucknow Super Giants. That's the first game on Saturday, followed by a very, very intense match between Delhi Capitals and Royal Challengers Bengaluru.
got confused between the Royals. I
That's
can
okay.
see.
Happens.
I can
Yeah,
see.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
okay.
All I'm going to enjoy tomorrow for is that I don't have to watch it heart and mouth as a fan, and I can just enjoy the action, because at times it's very exhausting when you live every ball emotionally. So, bit of a disclaimer here, not a disclaimer, bit of a sneak peek into what happens. Siddhant can back me up here. When Sheldon Jackson let that one very easy buys 4 go, I almost kicked a chair. So I have been on the
Shane loses his cool, by the way.
A lot
And
during matches.
It is scary to be around him at times when
I will
there's a
back up
KKR
with
game
Shane.
on.
Remember once when CSK won, I think Uttapa dropped a catch, I think, and Nikhil was doing the live. I had to run across to the other team
And
to
shout?
vent out my fury. Because at that time CSK were in the middle of a big losing slump. So that's why.
So this happens tomorrow. I'm just glad I'll get to enjoy it from a fan
Yeah.
perspective. No Shane bias, only Shane dies.
Yes.
I'll enjoy some sleep tomorrow.
Well, of course you will. I'll enjoy some on Sunday.
Of course. So Mumbai Indians versus Lucknow Super Giants. First game. Second game, Delhi Capitals versus Royal Challengers Bengaluru. Join us for the doubleheader tomorrow at 2:45 p.m. Thank you, folks, for joining us. Good night. Shabba khair. Vanakkam. And do subscribe to Sports Today. Subscribe, like, share, comment, and do play the Gamesy app. Tomorrow, double the maza.